Warning, the show you're about to hear contains strong sexual adult content, situations, and other material you may find offensive. If you are under 18 or easily offended, please leave now. For everyone else, please stay tuned for Real Talk Lifestyle.
Hi, welcome to Real Talk. We're your hosts.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Sarah. Please join us as we discuss the swinging lifestyle.
Good evening and welcome to Live Real Talk with, oh my god, I botched that one tonight. Hello everybody, welcome to Real Talk Lifestyle. I'm Rob and this is Sarah and I don't know what's wrong with me tonight.
Yes, I did roll my eyes. Good evening, everybody.
So tonight, got a special announcement. I want to thank everybody from SLS Radio that is tuning in and listening to us tonight as well. We will give you out our email address as well as our Twitter account, so those that are tuning in on the radio station will be able to send in questions and participate in our show as well. So we're very excited to have all the SLS listeners tuning in for the show tonight. So tonight we're going to jump right in and we're going to be talking about what happens at a swingers club, stays at the swingers club, and also how to have a professional career and still manage to be in the lifestyle and be able to manage that and the lifestyle as well. So before we get into that though, I got a funny story. I got to tell you what happened this weekend. Okay. So I was at the club Saturday night.
Well, obviously you're always here.
Well, a club or a venue, depends on who you're talking to. Some people like to call it a venue. Okay. Others like to call it a club. So I'm sitting over by the DJ booth, and this girl comes up and grabs my hand. She goes, "Hey, come with me real quick." So I'm like, "Oh, shoot, I'm going to get lucky." So I asked her, I go, "Well, where are we going?" She goes, "To the bedroom." And I go, "Oh, okay. So, this is pretty exciting, something that's never happened before." So we get up to the bedroom, and she proceeds to take me in the bedroom, and she shows me that somebody had left a couple dirty cups in there. I thought it was for something totally different, but it was just for that. So that was a little kill to my ego. I got a kick out of it, but I know everybody was on the edge of their seats there thinking, "Oh, you go, boy," but yeah, no, that's not what it was. And but yeah, I got a kick out of that. So let's go ahead and jump right in to the podcast, talk show, whatever you want to call it. Okay. We got so many different things going on. I'm excited. I'm in a playful mood tonight, and I have to start out by saying how beautiful you look.
Thank you.
Nice black dress.
Thank you.
Very sexy, as always.
Thank you.
So yeah, we're going to discuss what happens in a lifestyle club or a swingers club, stays at the club. So basically, what I'm getting at with that is when you go out for the night and you're at a club, a party, or any type of lifestyle setting, and you are out with other couples and you're meeting them, you may run into somebody that you know on the outside. You may run into people that you know from work or other areas in your day-to-day life, or you just may be out and about one day shopping with your family, and you might see somebody in the corner of your eye and go, "Oh my God, I saw this person at a club." That's what I'm kind of getting at with that. So how do you react, and what do you do if something like that happens? Or, if you run into somebody in a club, you definitely don't want to go tell all of their friends that, "Hey, guess who I saw at a swingers club this weekend?" Something to that effect. So you have to keep in mind when you're at a lifestyle club, a lifestyle party, a meet and greet, anything like that, that is a different part of your life than your everyday, day-to-day in and out of life, of what you're doing, out and about versus what you're doing at another place. So, what do you got to say about it?
I think if you see somebody, or even if you hooked up with somebody, you should keep that to yourself. I've seen things on social media where people have gotten on there and said, well, yeah, I went home with a couple last night, and they may not give their names, but if that same people were at that same party, they know who you're talking about.
Right.
So I have seen that happen where somebody has said, well, yeah, I hooked up with so-and-so and we all went home together. I think even in that aspect, if you have done that, you really probably should never do that again, because people might be there at the same place you are. And it's not like if you're at a party or at a venue that people don't notice who you're going into a room with. It's just in polite and private conversation, or in public conversation. You should keep that to yourself. You shouldn't really advertise that. And I think it's kind of in poor taste myself to, so to speak, kiss and tell, if you will.
It's definitely not a time to brag about your sexual conquest and things like that.
I don't think that should be discussed unless it's discussed between the parties that you hooked up with. I don't think everybody else needs to know.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing of being discreet. And, we kind of covered that on the last podcast about discretion and, so forth.
And I have ran into people that I have seen at the club and that I know. And how I reacted really depended on who I was with. If I was with some family members, like say our children, I tend to not go up and talk to them. But I have also been alone in a supermarket store and seen people that I know, and I will chat with them, depending on the situation. I don't approach them, but they have approached me, and I think it's fine if you are, both parties are willing to talk to each other in a public setting. That's fine. I did have one instance where I told you about that work thing that happened.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah.
Long story short, I was at my job, and I have a job that requires me to be fairly professional, and it's a job that wouldn't necessarily like the fact that this is what I do. And the person that approached me worked at a different office. We were just in the same building, and they came up to me and said, I seen your profile and such a swinger site. And we weren't actually in the office at the time, we were outside, but I still thought it was in poor taste because it was still at a job setting, and I felt
well, he was just downright hitting on you out there because he thought that let's go hook up.
Well, that it was more or less, well, I just want you to know that I know, that you have a profile, and I've viewed your pictures and things like that, and then proceeded to bring up, I sent, private messages to you and emailed you to, tell you I was interested, and you didn't respond. And I think I handled it fine. I said, I'm flattered and whatnot. I said, but this is work, and I really wish you wouldn't address this here. I said, if you want to, email me later or whatever, we can discuss it then. I said, but, this is not the time or the place to really discuss this topic. But, not everybody's going to be in poor taste like mine was, where they actually will address you right out. I think a lot of us are pretty astute to know that you just don't bring that kind of topics up, but there are a select few that just don't seem to get that, and those are the people that we're addressing now. If you do hook up with somebody, it's best to keep it between you and the person or people you've hooked up with.
No kiss and tell.
Right. And so, but that's my take on it. I think that everything should be kept on the down low and private.
So we had some listeners that tuned in. Dean had said that you sound great and you look great.
Thank you, Dean. He's so sweet.
Yeah. So carrying on with the subject, we kind of covered a few things. I guess the easiest thing is when you're out in public, like I said, you don't want to go up to another couple, even if they're by themselves. Don't approach them out and about. That's why we say what happens at the club stays at the club. That's their time to be doing their day-to-day stuff. You could see them in the club or the meet and greets or wherever you're at, out and about, at night when you're in that type of atmosphere. But I certainly, if I saw somebody out and about, I'm not going to run up to them and say, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?"
I'm girlfriend.
Yeah, because it's just not that type of setting to be doing things like that. People want to have their anonymity when they're out and about versus when they're at these other types of places. And it's just like when you're inside these places at night and you see them hooking up with people and doing this or that and the other, that's between the couples that are doing that. And we did cover that on the last show where we were talking about not being judgmental, with girls being able to hook up and people going, "Oh my God, she slept with 2 guys tonight. She's a slut." But if a guy turned around and did the same thing, that's okay. So we got a lot of feedback on that show because it did open a lot of people's eyes, and it was for the better because it made them stop and think and go, they're right. It should be okay for a female to do the exact same thing a guy is doing and not be judged for it.
I think we were shocked by the feedback as well, because there was people that gave answers on some of the feedback that we were just kind of shocked at their answers. We didn't think that some of the answers that they gave were the people that we thought it was coming from. So
right.
It's a very touchy subject, I think, on that little aspect. But as far as like you're right, the discrete thing and stuff like that, this isn't a topic you discuss with your friends. Well, so and so went up to the bedroom with so and so. Even if you're the observer, I still don't think that should be in a conversation with other people. But that's neither here nor there. Like I said, when I see it on the social media, I think it's kind of in poor taste.
It is. It definitely is.
It's kind of you're just advertising, and I just think that if the other couple would be aware of it, they would probably be very upset at the fact that you're doing that, even if you didn't name their names. And I'm not saying that we don't have people that go out in public together and do events outside the club, and that's fine if you all get together, want to go out to dinner, and don't mind being seen in public.
There's a time and a place.
To force it on somebody is to me is totally wrong.
Right. There's a time and a place, and I mean that's up to your judgment. But we're just saying if you see people out in public and you're not with them, it's best not to go up and strike up a conversation, because it's going to be awkward. It's going to catch them off guard as well. Because they're out doing whatever they're supposed to be doing. And, it's just not the right setting for that. And, with that, we want to talk about outing people. That's a good way to out somebody is if you're talking.
And not intentionally meaning to.
Yeah, you're definitely not intentionally, but, it does happen. You could be talking to somebody and just kind of mention, "Oh, I saw so-and-so at this thing," and they're like, "Well, how do you know?" So then you got to sit there and answer that type of question.
Or say, "I saw so-and-so at a party." Well, really, because everybody, you think that conversation is going to stop right there. Oh, well, great, you see them at a party. But
no, they want to know more.
Yeah, they always want to know more.
The juicy details.
Yeah, more questions will follow. So it's best not to even mention any of that.
Right.
What you think is innocent is going to wind up into a bigger conversation than you really anticipated.
Right. And no matter how excited you are about the situation, it's just there's a time and a place for everything, and that's just not it. I don't know if we can really. I mean, I'm sure we could expand more on it. I mean, it's common sense. I think that. I guess so. I can give you an example. If there's people playing in a club and you have other people walking through on a tour, or you have a couple walking through just to go see what's going on, I've had it happen before where I saw someone make a comment when somebody was downstairs playing.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of off-putting as well. Or you may not even be thinking about things, and you might be talking to your partner and one of you starts laughing. That's going to make that person that's playing or whatever stop what they're doing, because it's going to break their concentration, and think that, okay, they're laughing at that person that's playing. So just be mindful that, while things are going on, that, you're keeping your conversations to a low between you whoever you're with, and you're not going through and just making comments and pointing at people while they're playing. Let them enjoy their time and what they're doing while they're involved in whatever it is they're doing. Just because, like I said, you may crack a joke about something, start laughing, and like I said, that other couple, they're going to think that you're laughing about them or whatever the case is. So just be mindful when you're walking through a club or a venue or wherever it is and people are playing. Respect their privacy while they're, well, you can't say privacy if they're in a an area, but
respect respect their feelings, what they're doing,
right?
Because when you have somebody, you're in the middle of playing or doing something with somebody, and somebody has observed that, and you hear a comment, "Way to go," or
don't cheer them on,
stuff like that, or just little comments. That's even going, "Oh, that's so hot," it just kind of throws off the mood. So it's always best to silently watch. If you want to discuss it later with your partner or whatever, say, I really like what so and so is doing to each other. I thought it was hot, but in the moment when somebody's actually doing that stuff, it's not a good idea to make any sort of comments or things like that. I find it can really ruin a mood if they can hear that. Now you were talking about being professional in the lifestyle. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. So
I'm sorry, folks. I get lost sometimes.
That's
on the topics.
We got, like I said, we have quite a bit to cover tonight. So before we jump into that part, why don't we go ahead and announce one of our sponsors? We are sponsored by Adam and Eve here in Omaha, Nebraska. We are now working with them exclusively, and we do have a promo code that'll get you an additional 15% off. So for those that are interested locally here, you can go to the store. Just give us a phone call or send us an email, and we'll give you that promo code so you can take advantage of that. Great store, great people down there, so definitely check that out.
Now, does the promo code work for the online?
Not yet. They are getting it set up. That has to go through the corporate office to get the online code set up, so that is taking a little time. But they are located here in Omaha on 84th Street, so check them out and definitely support them.
They are national too, so
they are national. But
so if they want to order, because we have some people that don't live in,
they're franchised. So depending on where you are, you can definitely go online and order your stuff, but the promo code will only work for certain places.
Right.
Also, anybody that is interested, we record our shows out of we broadcast out of the Our Place studios, and Our Place is a lifestyle venue club in Omaha, Nebraska, and the web address for that is www.ourplaceomaha, and that's the letter R and then place. So ourplaceomaha.com. Definitely check out the website. It's a great place located in Omaha, Nebraska. Have a lot of great times there. So,
so if you're ever in Omaha, Nebraska, and you're looking for something to do, and you're from out of state, we are open Fridays and Saturdays.
Yep. Soon to be Sundays.
Yep. From 8 to 3 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays, and Sundays are
8 p.m. to 3 a.m. I think you said,
I said 8 to 3, 8 p.m. to 8 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. And
Okay.
Then, yeah.
And what's Sunday's going to be?
6 to 11?
Yep, that is right.
6 to 11, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely that. So Sundays are going to start in May. I think it's May 5th is the launch date for that. We do have the new website up as well for our place. They completely revamped that whole website. So definitely check it out and send them feedback. I really like the new website design on it. It's really great. So why don't we go ahead and we're going to switch gears, and for the next segment we will talk about how to have a professional career and still remain in the lifestyle. And I know we got some questions tonight. I love questions, so I'm excited to get to those as well. And really this topic tonight was picked by a couple that asked us to kind of hit on this. So we decided to go ahead and run with the episode, and that's why we're discussing this topic of, what happens in a lifestyle club stays. I mean, it's just like the slogan, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
If you guys ever have a topic that you want us to go over or discuss, we're more than willing to cover any topic or any show idea that you might have. So, just send those in with the questions as well, because we'll...
Yep, and you can always send the questions or comments, feedback, anything like that. You can send it to realtalklifestyle@gmail.com. Like I said, we love getting mail. We love getting the comments. We've got people tuned in right now that are leaving comments. We had some that said it's the best place ever at our place. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you guys.
We can't do it without you guys, and you guys are what makes this place so great. It's not just us. I mean, we can only do so much, but it's for all you guys that come here and, enjoy yourselves. So we want to thank you guys, and you are what makes this place so great. So being in a professional setting and having a professional career and being in the lifestyle can be a little tricky, because some jobs frown upon being in a lifestyle where you are engaging.
There's morality clauses in a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
They would just absolutely lose it if they found out. So,
which, what you do on your own time should really be that.
It should.
It should be what you're doing on your own time is up to you. However, some jobs contradict that, and social media, I mean, you have to be careful what you put on Facebook, because jobs can look at things like that. Twitter, whatever platform you're using, you really have to be careful with that. Some people have to be careful with putting pictures of themselves up on adult profile sites and, having fear for that. You can have professional careers and be in the lifestyle. People do it every day. I mean, teachers, doctors, lawyers, police officers, firefighters, nurses, judges. I mean, every
walk of life is in the lifestyle.
Don't let it fool you. I mean, because I know I drive around and I'll be at a stoplight and I just have it. I'll look over at somebody and wonder, I wonder if they're in the lifestyle.
It does that too.
You'll get a glance from somebody and you're like, I wonder if they're in the lifestyle.
Or he'll see somebody hot in the grocery store and he'll go, I wonder if they want to attend one of our parties.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a business card, but I mean, there again, I'm not going to go up to somebody and hand them a business card.
He says it to me. He doesn't do it.
I think the longer you're in the lifestyle, you do start looking at people just randomly, and you start wondering, hey, I wonder if they play, or something to that. But
I think we also look at some of our friends and go,
I wonder if I can convert them.
Not convert them, but you'll some of the comments I'm making, you look at them going, I think they could be. But I'm not going to ever approach them on it. But just some of the comments, you'll look at each other and go, they very well could be in the lifestyle. Right.
Well, I mean, that'd be a good game to play. Who
isn't?
Yeah, who is and who isn't? Yeah. Who do you think should be, or
who would you like to be?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know there's a lot of people I'd love to see in the lifestyle. If anybody has Jennifer Aniston's phone number, let me know. I'd love to reach out to her, for her. But well, and I'm sure you got your ultimate too.
You know, I
is it
used
changing?
To. I don't
Used
know.
to. Come on, who would be your ultimate?
Don't
say John Travolta either.
No, it was.
Wasn't it Sam Elliott?
Well, that was my every woman has an older guy fantasy, and that was mine.
I don't.
Every woman. I said woman.
I know.
That was mine. Was Sean Connery, and then he got a little too old for me, but then Sam Elliott. But
I used to be able to do the little bit of the Sean Connery accent.
He did not. He did it. He did the Saturday Night Live Sean Connery off of Jeopardy. Don't let him fool you. It's really not that good.
Hey, it was funny.
He to him.
Why are you laughing then?
Just because.
Oh, you're trying to appease me, is that it?
No.
All right. Well, who's your ultimate that you?
My ultimate that I would have wanted to.
Not would have wanted.
That I would do if I had to. It was Gerard Butler.
Oh.
I had a thing for Gerard Butler. Or Luke Bryan. Luke Bryan, definitely. So Luke Bryan or Gerard Butler. I don't know. I think it's the beard scruff or something. It's that rugged look, but either of those two, yeah.
Luke Bryan, huh?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I'm not the only one who wants Luke Bryan. Don't even look at me like that's me.
All right, well, I don't know. I've heard things about Luke Bryan, but I'm not going to say one way or the other. But I guess he's married, so.
He's married.
Or no, wait a minute. It was Kenny Chesney that I heard.
I'm not a Kenny Chesney fan.
My thing used to be like Renee Zellweger.
Really?
What's her name?
Zellweger.
Yeah, that's it. She's got a hard name to pronounce. But yeah, her, Heather Locklear, any of those,
Was it because you used to dress up like Kenny Chesney?
Oh, there you had to go there. Hey, we got Cowboy Night coming up, Cowboys and Girls next month, so that'll be exciting. Yeah, we got quite a few people tuned in tonight. Feel free to jump in, people, and type in whatever you like. We want to say hello to everybody that's joined in. If you got any questions or anything like that, go ahead and type them in, and we'll get to them. Jamie said, good choices, Sarah. She said, get them to our place.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Yeah, she'll work on that.
If I got them to our place, Jamie, it would be a closed night and probably the next 2 days, because I would actually literally tie them up in the dungeon if I not let them out. Then I'd be in jail for a few years for kidnapping, but it'd be worth it. It's so worth it.
But let's get back to having a professional career. So, just being discreet, when you have your profiles, you can set those to where you can keep your facial pictures blocked out, and you can only share them with certain people if you choose to.
Or make your profiles private.
Well, you can't make the profile private. Then because then nobody will be able to find you if you.
Okay.
You can make the pictures private.
That's what
and then you can share those with who you choose to after you build a relationship up with them.
Right.
And some of the people may decide that they want to use an alias first name or something like that, or this is my wife Vixen over here, or whatever.
And we've had people do that, and I look at it as you can be whoever you want to be, and that's part of the fun of the club. It is.
Too. It's fantasy.
It's all
you
fantasy.
Can come here and. I know a guy that comes here all the time, and every time he goes up to somebody and somebody goes, hey, what's your name? He gives them a different name.
I love that.
Sometimes 6-7 times in a night. My name's so-and-so.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
too,
and
funny.
I crack up every time I see that.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to keep up with his name, so I'm like, hey, you. But yeah, it's funny. But yeah, and that's another part of the lifestyle. You can have that fantasy, and you can be whoever you want to be for the night while you're there. So don't be scared to change it up and change your name up if you want to. You can take on a role of whatever you want to be. You could be the sexy little vixen that night, and you might think a name of Isabel is hot, and you just run with it. Have fun with it. Nothing says you have to use your real name. You can always do that. Of course, at your check-in at some of the clubs, you do have to provide ID.
But that is always
that's not
the door.
Yeah.
They don't ever advertise that.
So you don't have to worry about things like that. They're not going to do that. Just let whoever know, hey, I'm so-and-so tonight, and nothing more needs to be said about it. But yeah, with your photos and things like that, you can keep those private. I don't recommend using a dick pic as your main profile pic. People want, I mean, you get into that thing where people want to see when they're looking at profiles. But I will tell you this, a well-written profile will attract people to you, and then, you know, you can say, hey, I've looked back at yours, and they may have pictures up, and you say, oh, I'm attracted to you. Would you mind if I shared my pictures with you? So you can definitely do things like that. But we understand that, you know, with careers and things like that, you have to be safe and discreet, and that's one thing I can tell you for the people that come to our club, that you don't have to worry about that, because we don't discuss, you know, the people that come here. We're not going to run out and say, oh yeah, so and so comes here. You know, that's nobody's business, you know. So that's one thing you don't have to worry about. But we do get it, you know, being discreet, having a job, trying to be safe and protect that, because you have to be able to pay your bills. And, you know, honestly, it's nobody's business what you do in your own free time. That's your thing. And that's what the great thing about being in this lifestyle is. You can be whatever you want to be. You can come in and tell people you're in construction. You could come in and
change your career if you don't want them to know what you really do.
Yeah, you can come in and tell somebody, you know, hey, I work at the local 7-Eleven, you know, for all we care. I don't care what you do for a living. No. Just as long as you come in, you have a good time, and, you know, you talk to people and get to know them. That's all I care about, really. Now, we've actually had it happen where somebody's recognized somebody in there from a professional setting, and it was kind of awkward for them, but I think it kind of worked itself out.
I think they handled it fairly well.
Yeah, they really did. So,
and it's not happened just once. I mean, they do realize, and you all realize, I mean, that to not run into somebody is going to be impossible. It'd be like saying you're going to a grocery store, never ever seeing anybody that you've ever ran into before. That's just ridiculous. It's eventually going to happen one time or another, and it's all how you handle it. It's how you know. First of all, don't freak out, don't panic, be calm about it. You know,
just be mature about it.
I don't think you necessarily even have to address that person, even acknowledge that you even recognize them. If they recognize you and you do, or they come up to you, or you go up, I probably wouldn't go up to them, but if they've come up to you, said, hey, hi, how are you? You know, just say, hey, hi, how are you back? You know, they're more than likely never going to ever mention it at work. I mean, like I said, most people don't do that. I had an experience where it was done. They didn't do it in my office, in my actual job. You know, I think they thought that being outside was still okay. But still, you know, you got to figure they're not going to say anything, because, you know, you can just as easily tell that they were there too. So
still, there's a right time and a right place
and
for that.
I have to say, most people that it has happened to have handled it very well here. They've never, you know, freaked out. I think for the most part, they pretty much just decided, I'm not going to really acknowledge you.
Right. And I mean, and we can't say it's never going to happen to where you're going to run into somebody at a lifestyle club that you meet, or you know somebody. Best thing I can do is to make it less awkward. Make the first move as soon as you see them. Go up to that person and shake their hand and just say, hey, how are you guys doing? And then, you know, depending on how it goes from there, you know, you made that first move. You let them know that, hey, I know you, you know me. They may decide to talk with you, or you just shake their hand and you walk away, and they may sit back and go, oh my God, so-and-so's here. We can either let it be awkward, or we can just go on and have fun for our night. And they may choose to come up and talk to you and go, hey, that's kind of cool, you know, maybe we're attracted to you, we didn't know, and maybe we can hook up. I don't know why you're shaking your head. No.
I am the ultimate escape artist.
Well, why run away from it? I mean, if you think about it, if they're attractive and, you know, you're attracted to them.
No.
I don't know why you're saying no.
No. I'm not saying other people wouldn't think that way, but me personally, I would be like that. And there's no way in hell I would ever play with anybody I ever worked with, or.
Well, I'm not saying you have to.
Or I don't handle things like that as well as you do. I'm more of a, okay, I'm just gonna just pretend I don't know who the heck you are.
Well, there again,
I wouldn't even acknowledge the situation, to be honest. He has a different approach than I do. I'm the escape artist. I would be like, okay, not going in this room, or okay, I don't really want to address the people that, acknowledge that I even know you. So we have different different ways of handling stuff.
Well,
I'm more the, I don't know, I'm more of the not confrontational type.
You're chicken. What
I am.
What confrontation? Like I said, okay, say you work with somebody, and I mean indirectly, and they happen to come in, and you're like really attracted to the guy. You would hide from him all night?
Probably.
Okay, what if he sought you out?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I really don't know how I would feel about that.
Because you never know. It could be like a workplace crush, or they could be checking you out the whole time.
I always had and this isn't the most ladylike saying, but I always have the saying of don't poop where you eat.
Well, that's kind of a visual.
I know, but that to me, it's like don't dirty your area.
Okay. Well,
I would be like,
I guess everybody has their own way of handling it. To me, like I said, if you're not working, if it's indirectly, it's not like a boss, secretary, some type of thing like that, where it would cause conflict, I would be okay with talking to them. I'm certainly not going to run away from people if I know them from the outside. I would just go up and say, hey, how you doing? And make it less awkward that way. They can choose whether or not they want to engage in conversation, but I'm certainly not going to hide, because I'm here to do my own thing, and for me, I just don't care. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to let it ruin my night out. Oh well. So, let's see. Dean says, "Don't mix business with pleasure." And
see, that's the only one.
Yeah. Well, like I said, everybody handles it differently. I guess you don't know how you're going to react until you get into a situation like that.
I think so.
But like I said, I think to make it less awkward, you make that first move, because they're going to be just as scared and nervous as you are seeing them. So make it less awkward. Just go up and say, hey, how are you guys doing? And, shake your hand, and then you can choose to either walk away and let them decide they want to make a move, or, but, you don't want them to, you don't want to look at them and then look at you and beeline out the door, because then you've ruined their night out as well. So there's a fine line with it. There's nothing that says you have to play with that couple, but just let them know, hey, it's okay. We're here for the same reason you guys are. Maybe not with you guys, but we want you to stay and have a good time and not run out the door and make it awkward.
I don't know. I guess, you're right. I just don't know how I would handle that. Well, unless it's actually happened to me, but
maybe somebody will grab your hand, take you in the bedroom, and you're going to think you're getting lucky.
Missed opportunities.
They might show you there's some dirty cups or something. Your whole night's blown. How was your weekend, by the way? Did you do anything Saturday night, Friday night? I'm going to put you in the hot seat.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what I did Friday? Sorry, I was working at the club Friday. Sorry, I was to say I did have a lot of fun at the bunny party.
Yeah.
I did the whole Jessica Rabbit thing instead of the Playboy bunny thing, because that's what everybody always does. And
yeah.
I did the sexy long dress and the non-traditional rabbit ears. I went with the black instead of the traditional little white ones. So. Right. I thought I looked amazing. I should have taken pictures, but I didn't, and I kind of kicked myself.
You never do.
I know. I kicked myself after that, because I thought I looked really good that night. But it was a fun weekend. It was a great weekend.
Well, that's good. So I actually got us a Twitter page now. We have a Twitter account for our show, and we're going to be taking some photos of Sarah to put up, and some sexy poses and things like that. So the anybody that's on Twitter, you know, all you have to do is type in @ and then the letter R, and then talk lifestyle, real talk. So without the real, because I didn't have enough room to put the whole thing in there, so it's @ R talk lifestyle. So the letter R and then the word talk and lifestyle all together, one word. Be sure to go on there and make sure you follow us. We'll follow you back. Be checking very shortly. Like I said, we're gonna do some sexy pictures of Miss Sarah over here. She's shaking her head no, but she is, because we all know everybody tunes in to see you. You're kind of
not true.
It is too true. You are like the face of the show, and I mean you are sexy. So definitely follow us on Twitter, and we'll follow you guys back. And you know, it's a great platform to stay in touch with all the viewers and listeners and things like that. So we're going to use that to our advantage to communicate and put some pictures of you up. So yeah. So what else do we got? I mean, I know we got some questions, but
yeah.
what are we at time, producer Dave?
40.
We're at 40 minutes? Okay, so we got a little bit of time. I know you had a question. Yeah, we got a little bit of time. I know, should we feature this toy real quick and get that out of the way, or do you want to do a question? Because I have a question. I have a 2-part question tonight, and I know you have a question.
I do.
Do you want to do the toy first, or?
Yeah, let's do the
Okay.
toy real quick.
So, one of our other sponsors is Pleasure Concepts, and they are getting into lines of toys, and I'm going to pull this out real quick.
We were shocked when it was.
Yeah, this thing here, I'm going to set it up here on the table. Hopefully you can see this pretty well. This is called the Jetamine. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He just started carrying these, and hopefully you can get most of that in the frame there. So the Jetamine. And basically what it is a saddle. It almost looks like a Sibian, except this one does something a little different. I know the attachment on here is a little scary. I know it scared me. So it's like I got a lot to live up to. But I've actually seen girls come up to the Sibians, and if the attachment's too big, they will not mess with it. So anyway, this one just basically goes up and down like this. I know the ones that are listening to the radio station aren't going to be able to see this. So things you see.
I don't even want to see this.
This is kind of awkward. But yeah.
The fact that you're running it is even more awkward, but I have to say this is hilarious.
Yeah, it is. So I'm done.
Oh my gosh.
I think from now on you should do the toys.
Really?
Yeah. We will be.
You are never going to live this
I know.
down.
Now that I just thought about that, this retails for $1,400 plus tax, and you can get this through Pleasure Concepts. The producer is laughing back here. For those that are tuning in on the radio, basically there's a long dildo.
It's very long.
And I was trying to hold it up so it didn't flop over, and while it's going up and down, it looked like I was kind of, what do you call it? Jacking it off?
Jacking it off.
So let's go ahead and put this bad boy away. We will be debuting this at our place this weekend for anybody that would like to try it out. He said, "Let it finish. Don't be a tease." Thanks a lot. I can always count on you guys. Oh my God, that was hilarious. Yeah. Used to be things you heard at a lifestyle club. Now it's things you see on podcast shows. You're right. From now on, I'm going to let you feature that stuff.
Yeah, that would have been way less awkward. A lot more hot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. There will be a smaller attachment on it this weekend, so anybody that wants to give it a try, it will be here. Again, it does retail for $1,400 plus tax. If you'd like more information on it, you can email us, or I will send you guys over to Pleasure Concepts, and you can inquire to them.
Okay.
I don't know if Jamie is asking me or you, but it says, will you personally demo this weekend?
I hate to tell you this, but I have a pretty good feeling it was you.
I'll run it for you. I'm not going to demo it. That's a one and done there. Oh my God, he said spit on it first. Thanks, Dean.
I love you people. I really have to say that the comments that we get.
There's your entertainment for the night. That's
people.
all I can say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ready to recover and answer some questions?
Yeah, let's switch gears here because now I feel dirty.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and read your question and then you can answer that. Where are we at right now?
45.
Okay, so perfect. We got plenty of time.
Okay. This was a question I got from a gentleman, and basically, the gentleman asked a question in regards to an issue that had happened here. It wasn't necessarily a bad thing. One of the question was basically, do you ask both partners before you touch somebody? The gentleman kind of had a little bit of a problem with it because he felt that both parties should be asked before, somebody touches somebody. The problem was the person who was doing the touching asked the female if he could touch her, and she gave permission. Right. And then the gentleman who was with the female felt that they should have both been asked. He felt it was kind of a disrespectful thing not to ask both, and kind of giving him that respect that he deserves, considering that, he's letting him play with his partner. And I actually thought this was kind of not necessarily a difficult question to answer, but it's different for everybody, is what I should say.
Well, does it depend on the dynamic of the couple?
It depends
on
that's what I'm saying. It's a different answer for each couple because, like you said, the dynamic. It depends on how your relationship is set up and what you're okay with. If you have that kind of subservient, dominant kind of relationship, then usually it is up to the dominant person to give the permission. If you have, a different dynamic, like with you and I, it's okay for me to answer the question of whether somebody can touch me.
Right.
Now, however, out of respect for him, before I ever go play with anybody, I always tell whoever I'm playing with, hold on a minute. I have to go talk to my partner and make sure that it is okay with them to go into a room and play with somebody else.
Just don't interrupt me if I'm running this machine.
Yeah, so I guess. But, like I said, it's a different answer for everybody. Sometimes the female thinks it's just fine to answer that question, or she feels that, maybe she's not comfortable giving that kind of permission because she's unsure of that, or she'd rather. I know when we first started, I would direct every question to you because I was so scared to answer one way or the other. Not because you scared me, but just because I wasn't comfortable and out there enough to answer the question. So I would usually say, well, ask him, or, direct the question to him. I think it depends on the level that you're at, but I also think it depends on your couple dynamic as to whether or not somebody should have to ask both.
And when in doubt, this goes back to when you're talking to people about boundaries and their ground rules. That's a good time to ask. And if they're both sitting there, just say, hey, do you mind if I touch her? And ask her the same thing. Do you mind if I touch you? I think, it would be disrespectful to anybody that's sitting there if you kind of just, if you're together. Obviously, like, you're off doing your own thing. I'm not going to get disrespected if you're sitting there because you can handle a situation if somebody wants to touch you. But if you're right there in front of them, it's better to ask
both of them.
Ask both parties.
I think it is. But I've also told them, you need to have a talk between yourselves and find out what kind of dynamic you have. Are you okay with the fact that she's giving permission for somebody to touch her, even if you're there?
Right. But it sounds like she made the decision that night to allow whatever.
She did, and he had indicated that they had talked about their boundaries, and they seem fine with it. But again, we always say that you never know how you're going to feel about something until it happens. So, sometimes, like we say again, go revisit that and have a talk, even if it's something small like this. Because
Well, and I will say, too, I watched one guy, and I have to address him on it because he's slick on how he's doing it. He'll go up to talk to people, and especially if it's a female, he will go ahead and, lightly do his hand on somebody like this. And I don't want him to be that guy because it's kind of sleazy, because I see right through what he's doing to get that quick touch before even asking the person.
So they might disregard it as saying, oh, it's nothing, because it's not like he's grabbing my boobs or my crotch. Right. So it tends to get overlooked that way.
But you need to be mindful of things like that as well, because people will get upset about things like that.
Even something little like that, yeah.
And like I said, I'm a bullshit guy. I can spot bullshit, and I'm not going to call you out on it, but I am going to say something next time I see you, because you might not even realize you're doing it. I think you do, but I'm going to say something about it just so you clearly know that I know that you're doing it. And maybe it's something where you're not seeing that you're doing it, and you're just kind of being friendly. But again, you got to watch things like that, because people will call you out on it.
Well, my favorite is also single gentlemen. If you're with a couple and that is their thing, and they're into them, please don't isolate the gentleman and concentrate on just talking to the lady. Conversate with both of them.
Right. That
makes the and I can see how that lack of respect comes in if you're one of those guys that does that and concentrates on just the female, because that you're going to be, that's one you want to play with, but still there is another dynamic there, another partner there that would like to at least be acknowledged or addressed. They're giving you a prize of actually letting you play with their partner, so you should respect them in turn by at least including them in conversation and acknowledging that they're there.
What's the prize?
The golden ticket, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, just it's always nice, and it's a respect thing to acknowledge that other person is there and does exist.
Right. So, did you answer everything you thought you could on that question?
I did.
I think you pretty much.
I did. Yes, I did.
Okay, so I have one, and they told me, I'm going to lie here and make this up. They told me if I read this question, the next time I see them, I get a big hug for it. So I'm making it up. But I wouldn't say no for the hug. Let's see here. Oh, it's over here. That's why I can't find it. I should have been more prepared, apparently. All right. This is an anonymous question, and it is 2 parts. So we're going to break each one down since we have a little bit of time tonight. Usually we would kind of space them out. And like I said, guys, we do love getting questions sent to us. We enjoy answering these to the best of our ability and knowledge. So send those questions in at realtalklifestyle@gmail.com. It says, "Hi, Rob and Sarah. What should we do when either one or both members of a couple get upset with each other after playing with us, even though all boundaries that were discussed prior to playing were respected?"
And this is an excellent question, because normally we usually address the couple who's getting upset, and we go from their perspective. But we've never really talked about what happens when you're the couple that is in the room with them and they're upset. So we've never went it from their perspective. So this is an excellent question. I'm glad, we got it from a different side. So you want to...
for me, there's not a lot you really can do. You've abided by all the rules and the ground rules, the boundaries, everything. You've done your part.
You have.
You talked everything over. You understood going in what it was. The problem lies with the other couple or the other couple's partner, whoever is upset, because apparently they thought they could handle something, and
their talk wasn't very thorough.
Maybe it was, but maybe the jealousy thing just kind of kicked in, and maybe they thought they could handle that, and at that point when it was going on, it took over. And like we always talk about jealousy, there's good jealousy and bad jealousy. You have to find a way to turn that jealousy into a positive jealousy. But there again, there's not a lot you can do. That's something that other couple has to work through. Maybe they need to go back and take a step back from where they just went to that new level and say, okay, I thought I could handle it. I definitely can't. Maybe we need to take a step or two back and restart over again and kind of build to that. Maybe you don't ever get to that next level again. Maybe you stay at a different, level than where you are now.
I would say if you're that other couple, your best bet is probably to try and say, hey, we had an excellent time, but we think it's time to head out, or just politely excuse yourself, I think. But for you to feel bad, he's right, you shouldn't feel bad.
No, I mean, and you can't feel bad.
No.
I mean, because you didn't do anything wrong. That's on the other parties. Like I said, you never know what's going through somebody else's mind until things happen. I may sit here and go, this would be totally hot to see you do it, and then you go and do it, and it affect me a different way because here I am trying to push our boundaries and levels a little bit, and maybe it's something I'm not ready for. So we always say things may sound great until you try them, but you have to be ready for them when you try it. And if it's something that's not going to work, you can always take the step back.
Because it doesn't just affect your experience. It does affect the other people's experiences, because then they start to question themselves, okay, what did we do wrong? Did we do something wrong? Or, not only are you having a crappy time, but then their time is crappy, and they start to wonder, well, should I even play with other couples anymore? What if we run into this again? You
can always politely decline and just say, hey, we tried it. We're just going to go in a different direction. You don't have to be scared to turn somebody down. I mean, just because you play with a couple once doesn't mean you have to do that again.
No, and that's the other thing. They'll highly be probably less likely to ever want to play with that couple again. Yeah. I'm just saying that, sometimes bad experiences can color the way you proceed in the lifestyle from then on. I would say something like that. Don't let that color your judgment on playing with couples in general, other couples, because not all of them are like that. There are some that have everything down pat, and they do have their rules in place, and they do follow them, and the experiences can be great. Don't let one bad experience color, your view on playing with other people. Right. It's just there's really nothing you can really do about that situation. It's, politely, extricate yourself from the situation, and, say, hey, obviously this isn't working out. If we did anything that offended you, we apologize, but we don't think this is really working, Right. Maybe it's time we, leave.
And there's a lot of variables. You throw alcohol in the mix, sure. Different feelings you're feeling at the time. I mean, because when you're in the heat of the passion, sure, everything feels great, but when that's done, then you may have a different set of emotions that take over.
That's true. It might be, and it might go smooth during that, and then a fight will erupt, like you said, right after. So, if you're that other couple, there's really not a lot you can do. You've done everything that you're supposed to do, and it's now on them.
Yep. So, I mean, great question.
Yeah.
So the next question is, what if your comfort level and this is a great question as well. What if your comfort level increases during a night out and you are willing to change the boundaries you previously set with your partner?
We've all pushed it, and maybe not discussed it, and sometimes it turns out fine, sometimes it doesn't. I I myself would still rather have the conversation before I decide to take it to that step. Or, you know, you can always stop what you're doing while you're in the room and say, hey, do you know, want to do this? It's okay to, you know, stop and say, hey, I really want to do this. Or, you know, you can go for it and hope the consequences turn out, you know, right afterwards. I personally would rather just stop what I'm doing and talk about it than have to play Russian roulette later. But
I would honestly say, regardless if you're ready to increase your boundaries, you talk to your partner before you just say, hey, I'm going to do this. Regardless of how the night is and you're ready to do this, don't do it, don't act on it until you talk to your partner first and you discuss it. You have to both be there and you both have to be on board. You know, just because you feel it doesn't mean your partner is ready to push that boundary.
That's true.
There again, you know, maybe you have to take a step back that night and say, okay, I know I want to push it, but maybe tonight's not the best night to do it. Maybe we should just go back and talk a little bit and say, honey, I know we've been doing this.
Or the last time we played with a couple, I really felt we should have went here.
Yeah.
And then got their opinion of,
So, you know, before you act on anything, talk. You got to talk and you got to get, you know, permission and feedback on both sides there before you act on anything. Because if you just do it, that's where you're going to cause problems because you may be ready for it and that your partner may not be. There again, I mean, you can always stop for a minute and have that discussion, but just make sure you're clear-headed when you're making these decisions too. You know, you don't want to be cloudy and have cloudy judgment when you're talking because you're caught up in the heat in the moment. So there's nothing wrong with stopping what you're doing and say, hey, do you mind if we step out of the room? We just want to talk real quick. Or, hey, can we take a break, go back out to a table and discuss this?
Yeah.
And then we can come back and regroup and pick up where we left off. So that's how I would answer it. Hopefully that helps you guys.
That would be my answer too. I mean, like I said, we've done it with bad consequences. We've done it and the consequences were okay, but you just never know. And I'd say don't even take that chance.
Yeah. So that's my answer. I'm happy with that. Hopefully that helped, and hopefully that answered your question.
We've had some really great questions tonight, guys. I must say, all three of them were excellent questions, and you know, keep sending them in, guys, because we love answering.
And I'll be expecting that hug the next time too. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't turn it down though.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. But anyway, I guess that's all we really have for tonight. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank everybody on SLS Radio for tuning in.
And for SLS taking the chance on us and picking us up.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. And hopefully the listeners really like the format and the what we're putting out here. We try to be classy and genuine while we do these. So hopefully, you know, you guys are giving the radio station feedback, letting them know you like what you're hearing, and we will keep working really hard to give great information.
It's a shame you're going to miss that video, that visual from earlier tonight. But hey, you know.
For those tuning in, you know, sorry, I'm not even going to go there. But for everybody else, you got to see it, so enjoy it because you're never going to see that again. But other than that,
it'll be on YouTube.
Yeah. So thanks a lot.
On YouTube.
Thanks for tuning in. Definitely remember to hit us up on Twitter at realtalklifestyle. Definitely do that, and then for information.
Real Talk Lifestyle.
Yeah, no, it's our Talk Lifestyle.
Oh, on Twitter, yes.
Yeah,
okay.
on Twitter.
Okay. All right,
and then you can send questions into realtalklifestyle@gmail.com. We want to say thank you, and we will see you guys again. Thank you, and have a good night.
Good night. See you guys next week.